Right now at 4 o'clock, a snowy and slow drive on I-70 this afternoon, that's for sure, and a lot of traffic up there in the mountains. Just look at the backup just west of the Eisenhower Tunnel right now. 1 hour ago, Clear Creek County Sheriff's Office said that multiple car crashes have been reported westbound on I-70. Those lanes are blocked, and I-70 is closed at Georgetown right now. We'll continue to follow the storms moving through Colorado with Kathy Sabin joining us in just a couple of minutes.
In 3 hours, President Trump will address Congress. Here is a live look at the U.S. Capitol tonight. New tariffs overnight are expected to be the focus as he addresses the House and the Senate. Thanks for joining us at 4 o'clock. I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Mark Salinger in for Tom Green. Tonight, President Trump's first address to Congress in his second term will happen. He is, of course, expected to defend his administration's plans to drastically downsize the federal government by eliminating thousands of government jobs. A senior administration official says the theme for tonight's speech is the renewal of the American dream, as the president outlines what he describes as his early wins. It's been 6 weeks since Trump took office. He's issued a long list of executive orders on things like immigration, equality, and the new tariffs. It comes as the stock market continues to tumble following Trump's enactment of those tariffs against Canada and Mexico. The address to Congress will start at 7 o'clock this evening. NBC will have live coverage for you. You can also stream that live on 9 News Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Today, we saw another large protest against the president at our state capitol. Hundreds of people were out with signs on the Capitol steps and front lawn. The group got so big that Colorado State Patrol had to put in temporary road closures on Lincoln and East Colfax. Right now, people across the country are reacting to the new tariffs on goods coming from Mexico and Canada.
This morning, that new 25% hike went into place. An additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods also took effect. U.S. stocks took a dive this morning. The Dow fell off nearly 700 points in early trading. President Trump said this morning that there was no room left for a deal to avert tariffs. The tariffs on Canada and Mexico cover more than $900 billion worth of yearly imports. Some Canadians worry that this will cause a massive trade war within North America.
It's honestly kind of insane. Both countries profit so much from each other. We're at Peace Arch Park where the sign says, "May these gates never be closed again." We shouldn't be doing this again. We signed, we're partners. It's very frustrating because it's not a logical thing.
Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, vowed to not back down and confirmed today that the country will have a strong response to the tariffs imposed by President Trump. Mexico's president says they will also be responding with countermeasures this Sunday. So let's take a look at what to expect. Imported goods that could be more expensive or food like potatoes, fruits and vegetables, electronics like TVs, home appliances and sporting equipment, and cars and parts for cars as well. The list goes on, and we still don't know the full impact.
So last night's storm didn't have a huge impact in the metro area. Still plenty of snow, though, in the high country. We've been talking about all the problems on the roads. There's our Matt Renew. He got up really early this morning to report on the snowfall, and boy, was he covered in it, head to toe. That's the way he does it. It looks so cold. I always say get a hat. That's fine.
That is Matt Renew in his natural environment.
That's
right
him.
He's having fun out there. So let's take a live look again near Loveland ski area. It's blizzard conditions up in the high country right now, and we've told you about all the problems it's causing on I-70. Westbound lanes are closed at Georgetown because of multiple crashes and bad conditions.
And Kathy, you talked about the wind being a big factor. I mean, we definitely felt the wind. Whether you saw snow or not, you felt the wind, and you still are.
Yeah, and many areas are still dealing with the wind. And while we didn't expect a lot of snow in Denver, the heavy rain mixed with snow last night made some travel troublesome on I-25, some hydroplaning there. And then if you went east just a little bit into Douglas County and into maybe portions of Elbert County, it was a total whiteout just about 5 miles from I-25. So definitely a different weather world depending upon your location. It's a powerful winter storm that's finally tracking east. Temperatures this afternoon holding in the mid-40s. It's a good 20 to 25 degrees colder than this time yesterday. And the wind has been a big feature, something we're still dealing with tonight, but the winds will slowly decrease. The highest gust I could find was in Lincoln County at 82 miles per hour, Lyman and Hugo with winds over 70, Centennial winds to 60, DIA winds just about to 60 miles per hour, and still extremely windy. out across the eastern plains, where blizzard warnings have canceled, but a high wind warning remains in effect until 5 o'clock. Also concerns for high avalanche danger. It's a massive system that's also going to provide the threat for severe weather and tornadoes across about 6 states as it moves out of Colorado tonight. The winds on the backside still very gusty and also transporting in a little bit of snow across the spine of the Continental Divide and on I-70, where we're seeing some of those road closures and some issues with the snow and the wind. We're done with the snow in Denver. The winds will slowly decrease. You're going to love the Wednesday forecast. I'll have that coming up.
Denver fire investigators believe a space heater may be to blame for an early morning fire that displaced 17 people. This was the scene about 3 a.m. when firefighters arrived to townhomes at Oxford and Yosemite near I-225. The flames spread quickly. A second crew had to be called in to help. The fire caused extensive damage. No one was hurt. The Red Cross is helping the families who are now without their homes. A man was sentenced to 8 years in prison for an attempted kidnapping of a 10-year-old girl outside her school in Thornton. This happened in September of 2022. Surveillance video caught the incident. 30-year-old Diego Gettler, dressed in all black, wore a mask when he approached a young girl after she was dropped off at STEM Launch. Gettler then tried to restrain her, but she fought back, pulling the mask and scaring him off. Someone who knew him and saw him on the news identified him. Police arrested him 3 days later. Gettler pleaded guilty to second-degree kidnapping and second-degree assault of a peace officer in an unrelated case from April of 2022. This week, a Colorado judge overturned a controversial federal program that paid people to adopt wild horses.
The program ran for 6 years, and critics say it encouraged a cycle of abuse that ended with adopted horses sent to slaughterhouses. Now, News reporter Ria Jha spoke with one of the women who filed the lawsuit.
Oh boy.
Taming a wild horse takes time.
Okay, Charlotte, come here.
Charlotte is actually the dog Carol Walker's holding.
Come on, Charlotte.
Carol trusts her Mustangs.
As long as I got the dogs locked up, we're fine. Go on, Helios. Go into your brothers.
When Helios, Cremoso, and Micah were up for adoption, no one wanted them.
These guys, you have to tame them as well as train them because they were wild and they weren't used to people, and you have to earn their trust. When I heard that they were going to be giving people that amount of money for adopting a horse just to get rid of them, basically, I was immediately very concerned.
In 2019, all of a sudden, people started wanting wild horses. It was after the Bureau of Land Management initiated a program to manage overpopulation. It offered $1,000 to people who adopted wild horses.
I'm all for the BLM giving support to people with training, with vet care, with other things that they could help people with, but not giving them cash. I think that's crazy, and it's just inviting abuse.
Carol and other advocates filed a lawsuit in 2021 saying people weren't in the business of earning trust. On Monday, a court found that BLM violated federal laws by implementing this program.
Instead, they've been just taking the $1,000 and then dumping the horses at auction, and the horses end up getting sent to slaughter.
Evidence presented in court revealed groups were adopting multiple horses, then flipping them to slaughter auctions, collecting tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars in the process. The court ordered BLM to stop the program. They will now need to conduct environmental review procedures before implementing any similar programs in the future.
I don't want to see all those horses die. I don't want to see more being rounded up and brought in.
But Carol doesn't want any more programs.
Just let them live out their lives.
In Longmont, Ria Jha, 9 News.
The Bureau of Land Management said most wild horse populations are within appropriate levels other than one herd in northwestern Colorado. They're now partnering with the state to increase the use of fertility control in that area.
It is Fat Tuesday. This is a live look at New Orleans, courtesy of EarthCam down there in the French District. This morning's celebrations were a little disrupted by weather. Some parades were canceled because of high winds, and this was already shaping up to be, of course, an unusual Mardi Gras. Just over 2 months ago, there was that deadly Bourbon Street terror attack. Security, of course, at an all-time high across the city. One of the popular parades was still able to go on early this morning, though, despite the weather. The Zulu parade will also shorten their route to reach the finish line before the afternoon storms rolled in. The party to celebrate the end of carnival season will continue until the stroke of midnight. It is always a party down there in New Orleans.
It's always a party. I know they put up those barriers, and that was
Yeah.
kind of a rush, and they had to do that also while getting ready for the Super Bowl.
Such a big year
So
for
they
New Orleans
had a
as well.
lot going on. And then Kathy said this is the storm that came to us.
Just making its way
that they're
all across
that
the
they
country.
had to deal with. So
Wild.
Yeah.
Big storm down there, so.
But it doesn't impact apparently the ability to have some fun.
They'll always have fun.
Saw
in New
some
Orleans.
people enjoying themselves.